and thank you for joining me for another episode of Love Your Work, where we have the opportunity to visit with people who love the work they do and they share some of the lessons that they've learned on their work journey. Today, I have with me Anita Heiskell, and Anita is a coach for social graces and etiquette. How are you doing today, Anita?
I am doing great, Whitney. Thank you so much for having me on today.
It is my absolute pleasure. So, we have not met before, just a short little chat before we got started. I know that from reading your bio and a little bit about you, we met in a boot camp, right?
All
Meeting in a
right.
boot camp. And a little bit about you from that you are helping people understand social graces and etiquette, something that for a lot of people, I would think didn't know still existed, right?
Right, correct.
So, how did you get involved in this work?
Well, it's a little bit of a long story. So I'm going to start and kind of go just a little bit. Back in the day, I'm not going to say the year. Back in the day, I started out competing in pageants. And the reason that I did that is I competed in scholarship pageants, which is the Miss America system. And in order for you to compete in those, you have to be in school, and the prizes are money that goes directly to your college or university of choice.
Okay.
So I got involved in that to pay for school. And as I started and I continued and I began to win, and I realized that pageantry is just not about what you look like. That pageantry is about your presentation and how you carry yourself and being able to articulate and communicate, because you have to be on stage in front of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people. And your interview is a big part of it, because
Mm,
they don't just want a young lady who looks good on the outside. She's going to be traveling. She needs to be able to stand up in front of people and be able to communicate to others. And so that is how I got into this, because social graces and etiquette and manners, it's all a part of that. As far as knowing how to present yourself, it's all about presenting yourself. So that's how I got
absolutely.
started. Yes.
Absolutely. So, as part of the pageant system, is that something that they work with you on, or did you have a coach to help you as you were working through that system?
That's a great question. No, Whitney, I did not, because when I started pageants, it was something that was out of the blue. I didn't grow up as a pageant girl
Mm,
like a lot of the young women grow up. They grow up starting out when they're little girls. And so they know that you need to have help, and they know that you really need to hire a coach. Well, I didn't know those things. So I went in just blind. And believe it or not, I went in blind and won my first pageant. But I was definitely a little, rough around the edges, and realized that I did need someone to help me. Once I won that pageant, I had people coming to me and offering and helping. And that's when I started to learn that I want to be able to give what I know to other people, because it's not just about a pageant. You can take what you learn doing in that pageant out into society to help you in your business, in school, whatever you want to do. It helps you become more successful.
absolutely, absolutely. Have you found that people are very receptive to the coaching in social graces and etiquette, or is it something that I would imagine some people are like, That's kind of old timey. We don't do that anymore." So,
It's so interesting that you say that, but people are receptive.
oh, good.
Um, Etiquette and social graces is what you can say a lost art, because people do, when you think of social graces and etiquette, you think of that stuffy, snobby type of, learning how to walk around with a book on your head. And it's so much more than that. And
Right.
so people are really receptive, because they understand that what is it that is going to set me apart. Okay. There is so much competition out there now, be it in the business world, social world, whatever. Getting into college, it's competition. So,
Right.
what is going to set me apart? So, people are beginning to realize I need to polish up a little bit, and I need to learn these things. And it's never too late to become that total you. And it's also never too late it's okay to get a refresher. refresher courses are good. So, but that's a great question. But yes, people are very receptive now because times may change, but social graces and etiquette do stay the same.
I love that. I love that. It makes me think of when we say this in our community, and I may be overstepping my bounds in saying this, but they need home training, right? It is kind of like,
Yes.
it's like, oh yeah, they need home training. You see somebody out in public, and it's like, what the? And so I
Yes.
love that you recognized that there was a need and decided to give back and share what you know as part of that. So, what were some of the, other than recognizing maybe that you needed a little polishing, what were some of the other life lessons that you learned as part of being in pageants?
Well, I learned that as human beings that we need to be well socialized. And we need to know what those social skills are, because when you are well socialized and you know what that definition of social skills are, it's those skills that you use to go out into public and be able to interact with other people, exchange and conversation with other people. And I realized that you want to be able to do those things with ease and
Right.
not have to worry about if you're doing the right thing. I want to be able to enjoy myself when I'm out with other people. So I wanted to make sure that I knew what to do in what situation at any time so that I can enjoy being there and not worry so much about doing something wrong.
Right, right. That makes sense. That makes sense. And one of the I think running jokes always seems to be about table settings and whether or not
Yes.
someone is using and whether or not someone is using the right the right tableware. Um,
Right. And that can be a situation where it can be very embarrassing for a person. It can be very frustrating, not knowing. And a lot of times when I'm out, doing what I do, I have a tendency to see everything and notice everything. And it's such a basic formula, and people don't really understand how basic it is. But when you know those little things, that your drinks are on your right side, all your wet things are on your right side and your dry things are on your left side. It's very simple. So when you're sitting at that banquet table and that with that round of 8, you're not going to use someone else's bread plate, or you're not going to take someone else's glass, because you're going to know my drinks are on the right and my bread is on the left, my forks are on the left, and my knife and my spoon are on the right. That's
that's
it.
always the funniest thing, right? The first person who does the wrong thing, and then you go around the
It's
table and everyone.
yeah, it sets it all wrong. Once that one person takes the wrong glass or the wrong fork, then it's over.
It's always funny when that happens. So I love that you're teaching this and that there is a place for people to go to learn this. So has your business changed at all as part of the pandemic? Are you doing courses and things online, or were you doing them online previously?
I was not doing them online, but I am doing them online. And the first of the year, when the pandemic really hit, everything was online. I have some clients now that are a little more comfortable with getting out face to face, but those are my private sessions, not my group sessions. But yes, right now my business did change, but it didn't slow down. I do everything pretty much Zoom. I have group classes. I have individual classes. I did a etiquette birthday party the
Oh,
other night for a 10-year-old. So people are getting very creative with my services, and it's really kind of opening up my eyes, going, wow, that's a great idea. Can you do a birthday party? Well, I've never done one, but we can try it. And it was amazing.
I love
So
the idea.
yes, and people are really realizing the importance of this, not just personally, but in your business world. If you own your own business, you want to make sure your office workers, because it's all about the presentation, and people are going to see what they see first. When people meet you or they walk into your business or your office for the first time, whether you talk to them or say anything, they are already have made that decision about you within the first 3 to 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And most people don't really understand that when I tell them, but it's all about your verbal, it's all about your nonverbal communication, and you never get a second chance to make that first impression.
That is so true. That is so true. And I would imagine being virtual now, you get to work with people you never would have had the opportunity.
That's right, because I'm working with people in different states, different cities, different areas. So it's really, it has expanded my business, and it has also brought me a lot of new friends, which is good as well. Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you guys are interested in getting etiquette classes, learning some social graces, I know no one in my audience needs that, but just in case, I have put Anita's contact information in the post. So let's talk a little bit, and you started somewhat with a trip down memory lane talking about your time in pageants. While you were in that system, did you have opportunity to work, or was that basically what you were doing full time?
At that time when I was competing, I was in school at the University of Memphis in Memphis, Tennessee, and that is where I grew up. So I had to learn how to have some time management because I had a lot of appearances. Me winning my title was a little different in Memphis, Tennessee, because at that time I was the very first African American woman to win that title. So my appearances just blossomed. I mean, I had appearances that I did all over. So I really had to learn how to manage my time and continue my studies at the same time. So that was a big help for me, learning how to do that at an early age, learning how to manage that time and be able to focus and do what I needed to do and do it well, but also focus on the things that really matter, like school.
Right.
Yeah, and then also competing in those pageants. And what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of people can sometimes have very negative thoughts about pageants. But if you do a little research, you will understand that it's not just about walking across that stage or just doing an interview or wearing a pretty dress or having your hair styled or your makeup. It's about being able to present, to get up on that stage and do those things, because those are life skills that once you're done there, those life skills can go with you into the business world, into interviews and all those things. And so it really is a big learning experience. And I think every young lady should have the opportunity to compete in a pageant, just so that she can feel and know that it's okay to have a voice, and to just to learn how to do things properly, because I think it's very important. It's very good life skills, and everyone should have the opportunity to do it.
That's good. So when you left the university, did you immediately start your business, or
I did not. I did not immediately start my business. And let me tell you a bit about that. I, for years, have been in my own way. I have talked myself out of this business. It is something that I have loved from the time I was a young girl. I grew up, my parents had me in the Sears School of Etiquette, as a little girl. I'm dating myself again with that. And so it's something that I've really loved.
Between you and I, Anita.
Yeah, something that I have loved forever. It's something that I feel that I am very good at. I feel that I can help people a lot with it, and it's my purpose and my passion in life. So once I got done there, I moved to Texas, and I actually started working for a major airline. And I still talk to myself about doing this. And actually, Whitney, I gave it away. And when I say I gave it away, I worked with people and helped people and worked with different organizations, and I just gave it away. And so finally, one day, and I've been married now for over 20 years, but my husband said to me, he said, you are really good at that. People love you. They like to be around you. And when you're doing it, you are so happy. So 8 years ago, he, kept talking to me and talking to me. And finally, I formed my LLC and I started my business, and I haven't looked back. But I do say to myself, Anita, why did you wait so long? But
It's
I'm here now.
and there's that. But the interesting thing about that question is that there is something always to be learned in the waiting, right? If we are willing to explore that. And so it could be while you were thinking about it, because I have a similar story of sort of putting something off, but doing the work, giving the
Yes.
coaching away, giving the consulting away,
Mm-hmm.
and not looking at it as a business. And
Yes.
then there's something that's learned in that. There's a perfecting of your art and your craft, so that
Yes.
when it is time 8 years ago when you did this, right, you could
Right.
really step into it and own it.
Yes,
So
yes. And also to what I do in my business is I work with young women, I work with young men, I work with children, teens, as well as adults. We talk about the manners part, the etiquette part, and the protocol part. And a lot of people think, well, what's the difference between those? Well, it's what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. Okay. And a lot of people think in this business of being an etiquette consultant that it's only about the dining part. But
mm,
there's so much more that goes into it. And as I said, I work with children, teens, adults. I work with young women. I work with young men. But I also focus on business etiquette. I do public speaking at events. I train the little ones. I start at 6 and I go up to however old I need to go up. There's no limit on that. And I like being able to let people know those reasons, those primary reasons that we use social skills, because a lot of people don't really understand that. Because we use the primary reasons that we use these social skills is we want to make other people, we want to put other people at ease. We want to make them feel comfortable. Okay. We want to demonstrate that we respect ourselves and we also respect others as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
We want to show other people that we value them because that's very important. And also, we want to exhibit integrity, honesty, and authenticity. And those are the things that we want to present. Because think about it, when you go out to eat, do you feel comfortable when someone is at the table with you and they're eating with no manners, talking with food in their mouth? Okay, so it's really not about us. It's not about us being proper. It's about making other people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that you learn the proper way to do things, so that you make people comfortable when you're out in society and out in public.
That makes a lot of sense, and it shows a respect for yourself, but for other people, right? That
Right,
you care
right.
enough about them that you want to do the right thing. I think about when I was a child, and the concept of I am a representative of my family,
That's
right?
right.
Or you're a representative of your company, or your employees are a representative of your company, and to have them go out in forward facing positions, whether it's as a teller or clerk, or a VP of the company, and to be able to represent you well, seems to me to be very important.
That's right. And knowing the proper way to do things, that could be the difference in you keeping your job,
Yeah.
getting the job, or maybe even getting promoted. Because a lot of times, when in a business atmosphere, why do you think people say, hey, let's go to lunch? Hey, why don't we meet for dinner? That's because they want to watch you. They want to see if you know how to handle yourself, because you are going to be that representative of that company or that business that's going to be going out. And it will make a difference whether people want to be a part of that by the way you behave or not.
Right. And it starts before you even get in the door, right?
That's
Sending
right.
resumes, calling. When I was in corporate and sat as part of interview panels, we would ask the receptionist how someone treated them when they came in for their interview,
That's right.
because it says a lot about who they are. And if you're going to
Yes.
treat someone while you're trying to get the job poorly, that's probably what we can expect from you when you have.
From once you have the job. And also too, we talked about those first impressions. You need to be aware that every outfit is not appropriate for every event. So you need to be able to have the knowledge to know what is appropriate for this event, what's not, and maybe what's appropriate for another event. So there's a lot of things that go into this. And what we have to realize is that right now during this time, we're growing up in a time where now most households have both parents that are working. You know, people are busy. They don't really have the time to sit down and start teaching their families or their children these things. So sometimes you need to let somebody come in and help out, because it's really good to start when they're younger, because once you start when they're younger, it's instilled that they know what to do
Right.
as they grow up and they go out into the world. Mhm.
So what's your favorite part of this? What do you love about what you do?
I love watching the transformations.
Mm.
It is very heartwarming for me to have someone that comes in that is really needing this help, and they're needing help all around with everything, and to see them end at the end of a 6-week or an 8-week course, and I see this transformation, and that is what is so special to me, because I know that I was a part of that, and I love helping people, and then I love to see them look at themselves, not just in the mirror, but look at themselves and what they're accomplishing because of the little tweaks that they made. That just lights up my world. It really does.
I bet you can see it on their countenance, right? That
Yes,
they now have increased confidence about themselves.
absolutely,
Know
absolutely.
go out into the world and represent themselves and represent others well.
Yes, yes. And so that's my joy, and being able to give that to people, and that just makes my day.
What are the biggest challenges that you have in the work that you do?
The biggest challenges would be for me is when I start to work with someone, especially adults or teens, and one of my first questions to them is, how coachable are
Mm.
you? Okay. And you most of the time you get that, oh, Mrs. Heiskell, I'm so coachable, whatever you tell me, blah, blah, blah. And you get that, that's because I think that's what people think you want to hear. So you get
Right.
that. So the answer to your question, Whitney, my biggest challenge would be those clients that say that they're coachable and they're open to the help, but then they come into the program and they don't want to, they say they want to change and get things together, but they really don't, and they
Right.
want to hold on to the old ways. That is my biggest challenge, to kind of talk them down off the ledge.
Right.
So
Because even when you say that you're interested in change, the fact that there's going to be change means it's somewhere in our head, right?
yes,
That part of
yes,
our head that is the negative talk, that there's something wrong with us, when there's
right,
nothing wrong with you. There are just
mhm,
some things you can do to improve, right? So
right,
you get defensive, not intentionally, but there's this defense mechanism that goes up. It's like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I don't do this right, or I can't do this well. And then maybe it starts to block your ability to even learn. Right.
That's right. That's true. That you're absolutely right. So that would have to be one of my biggest challenges. And if you ever talk to any of my clients, they know I have this tendency. I have a lot of sayings that I have when I'm doing my work, and everybody always tells me, "Oh my goodness, when you're working with your clients, you just light up." Well, like I said, this is what I love, and this is my purpose and my passion in life. But I always tell my clients, stay ready. Stay ready, because when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So
Yes.
always be on top of your game. Once you know those basics and those things that you need to do in order to succeed, social graces, etiquette, manners wise, stay ready. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
We don't have a set of casual table manners and a set of formal table manners. That doesn't exist. We just have table manners. So if you use correct table manners all the time, when you go out for that special meal, guess what? You don't have to think about what to do because you're
Mhm.
doing it. You're doing it all the time. So those are the things that I try to tell my clients and let them know, because when you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and you have worked on it, people react to you differently. They really do. And you will succeed and things will come your way. And the reason why they do is because people love when people know how to present themselves properly. It can be, it can be your make or break moment. And we all deserve to know that. And we all deserve to have those skills that can help us become successful.
Such good wisdom. So you've talked about the challenge you have. What about the challenge your clients have? And let's take a for instance. I'm thinking in business, and business now is very global, right? And when you are meeting with people, you're meeting with people from around the world who have very different customs than we have here in the United States. And you talked about a little bit about protocol. And a couple of weeks ago, I was watching The Crown. Right, I was sort of binge watching The Crown, and thinking about these very specific protocol rules and who can walk in front of whom, and while we may not ever have the opportunity to walk in front of the queen or something like that, there are some protocols in business and things that we all have, simple things like, and this is one of those things that I remember as a speaker, when someone is introducing you at the lectern, right, and you're coming on stage, not to cross in front of the speaker, right? You should always walk behind. And there are always little things like that where no one's teaching those things. So, what are some of the challenges your clients either bring to you that they need to work on as it relates to business that could be helpful for the audience?
I love what you just said. It's different now. First of all, I do teach Zoom etiquette, which is very important because we have a tendency to think that just because we're not face to face and we're on a Zoom call, that we can take it down a couple of notches. Not true. You show up on that Zoom business call just the same as you would show up in person. You have to be prompt, you need to be dressed properly, the eye contact, everything, it's still the same. So I teach that. And also what we need to understand, and what my clients need to understand, is etiquette is situational. It really is. It is situational. And sometimes you have to just use your best judgment. And even though I am certified, I have trained for this, I have my certification, there are still times when I have to look it up as well. Okay. And also being in business, yes, you're traveling. I mean, you're traveling on Zoom, it's global. You need to do your research. You're going to know ahead of time who you are going to be dealing with, or who your business is going to be. Let's say if we're dealing with people from Japan, or we're dealing with people from China, or just Europe, or anywhere, you need to brush up on those basic etiquette business skills. Do you shake hands? Do you bow?
Right.
Do there are things that you need to know. So when I have those clients that are coming to me, they can specifically tell me what they are preparing for, and then we work and focus on those things so that we know. And also now things are different. Handshakes are the professional way, but we're not shaking hands now.
Right.
So what are some other ways that we can greet people without shaking hands? Okay. I also have to tell my clients, did you know there's a formula for making introductions? There is. So there are things that my client would come to me and say, Mrs. Heiskell, this is what is going on. I need help with that. And so we would work on that. But I have to respect those clients that ask, because it's better to ask and know than to go into that situation and just blow the entire thing because you haven't prepared yourself.
Okay, that's awesome. So as we wrap up, aside from you, right? If someone is not able to work with you, my frame of reference for help with etiquette and protocol is Letitia Baldridge. Is she's still the seminal expert on this, or are there others that you recommend for people if they were not able to work with you?
If they were not able to work with me, there is one other lady that I would suggest, and her name is Elaine Swan. And she is great and she's amazing. She's somebody that I really look up to, but that would be someone that I would suggest. Yes.
Do
Mhm.
you have a book or anything that people
I
can?
do not have a book, but I am working on it. So
Okay,
I'm
good.
hoping for it to be out by next year. I get asked that all the time because people say that my work is so good in the way I do it, and that they continue to ask me, "Where's your book? Where's your book?" So that has been a lot of inspiration for me to get this book done and finished. But I have some goals that I'm still working towards. I'm working towards, becoming that go-to etiquette person, because I do feel like I have the knowledge, and I have the love for this, and I love giving my gift to others so that they can take part in, knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And presentation says it all as well.
Absolutely. That's awesome. You're my go-to person. So you're going to be who I send everybody to. I don't know if Letitia Baldridge is even still alive, but I still have her book.
You have her book. I have her books as well.
Yeah. So that's where I've learned what I know. And so, but I think I'm going to be learning some things from you, and certainly will be recommending people to you that need this help. So, do you have any final words you'd like to share before we go?
I do. Remember that you are in control of how others see you.
Mm,
You are in control of how others see you. And that's what I would like to leave you with. So take charge and take control.
that is pure gold wisdom right there. So, Anita, thank you so much for stopping by. I love your work, for sharing a bit of who you are, what you do, why you love it. I feel honored that you came on the show, and I look forward to. I'm seriously going to be looking at taking some courses with you.
Great.
I look
Yeah, we all could use them. We could all use them. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. And again, if you are in need, or your employees need, your children need some help with social graces and etiquette, the beautiful part of where we are with the pandemic is that you can get this help online now, and Ms. Heiskell is available for you. So look at the information. Her contact information is in the post. Take advantage of what the services that she has to offer. Get better. And what did you say? How to do it, when to do it,
It's what to do,
what to
how
do.
to do it, how to do it, and when to do it.
There you go.
Manners, etiquette, and protocol.
There you go. So take advantage of this opportunity. And again, thank you for joining us for this episode of Love Your Work. Have a great rest of your day.
And thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to hearing from some of you all soon. Thank you and goodbye.
All right. Bye.